tired of being made to deal with her coworker continuing to push narratives about black on black crime after repeatedly being asked not to. This isn't about me and him, it's about buzzword, and using free speech to couch buzzword. She will remind us that she is a very tired woman. So you have an activist here that is using the current hyper emotional state of America in order to try to get one of her coworkers out of a job, not because he is bad at his job per se, but because he is pushing different opinions. And different opinions do not seem to be allowed in the United States right now. I will show you more in a bit, but it is very concerning. I want to remind people that in Nazi Germany and even under the USSR, there was a press. You still could publish articles. The problem is that the press was controlled by the state. Now, it's not necessarily the issue that the government was controlling the press that's the problem. The problem is that only one type of acceptable information could flow through the newspapers. And people were subjected to only one type of narrative. Meanwhile, in the free land of the West, under capitalism, you had many newspapers, and it was up to the person, to the individual, to choose what he believes and what he doesn't. The individual was treated as an adult, as a person capable of making decisions, as a person capable of discerning informations, correct from incorrect informations. That's why in America you have free speech, because they treated their citizenry like adults. The new way of thinking is to treat the citizen as a child. A child is not able to tell right from wrong. A child is not able to contradict the existence of Santa Claus. And as such, you need the betters, in other words, the press, to gatekeep the information, to make sure that the information is being filtered to the public, only the ones that is acceptable. Now, you might say that I am just speculating about this, but you would be wrong.
In an ideal world, political journalism looks like this. On either side, you've got the parties, fighting for the attention of the press. And in the middle, you've got journalists, sorting through what's important and what's just partisan bullshit. This is called gatekeeping, and it's one of the most important things journalists do.
In other words, Vox is admitting that this is what they're doing. And they consider it to be an ideal world. I don't think it's an ideal world. I think it's what a fascist state looks like when it comes to the press. But you know, I don't mind if a particular publication, like Vox, for example, wants to have a particular bias. And they completely ignore some of the news, or they manipulate it. I mean, hell, it's a free society. You can actually do that. It's immoral. I don't think the public will like it if they catch you doing it. But if one publication does it, there's no problem. The problem happens when journalists unionize on Twitter and they start acting like a class, and they try to get people fired for not gatekeeping the way the class wants them to gatekeep. So, in other words, when you have someone going against the narrative, when you have someone that is defending a fellow journalist for speaking out, he is going to get attacked by a multitude of blue check marks from different publications that allegedly should be competing with each other simply because they want to make an example out of him. And here we have Mr. Michael Tracey. Now, I don't know the guy. All I know is that he has the same name with Devin Tracy. Like, are they brothers or something? You know, I just watch YouTube. When I read the press, I just see the publication, not the journalist, because oftentimes at a publication, they all have literally the same opinions. It's very rarely that you see people contradicting themselves while working at a publication. So I don't know who Michael Tracey is. I mean, I don't even care at this point. I don't care about his politics. He can be left-leaning, he can be right-leaning, he can be with AOC, he can be with Trump. I don't care. Literally. What I do care is that he has the courage to stand up for a fellow journalist that is now being bullied by activists. And he is getting the flack for it. And the flack that he is getting is like a hive mind. It is just really bewildering. Like, look at this, okay? So this guy tells him to fuck you, right? And look, he's got like 1,252 hearts for the stunning and bravery of using like the most high school insult towards a fellow journalist. And then, look, another one. Fuck off troll. It's like, it's so bewildering because the activist is the one trolling. Do you legitimately think that she is tired? That she is actually mentally exhausted because she had a disagreement with a colleague? And she is so tired that she says this on the Twitter. And do you think that she says this on the Twitter in order for people to go in her real life and give her a massage and help her relax, put some Zen music? Or is it that she wants that person to get fired? And by the way, it's quite possible, from my personal experience, that this doesn't even have anything to do with the fact that he wants to have a conversation on black crime. This might just be a pretext. Like, she could have wanted to fire that person for years now, and it was just this moment, when the emotional state of Americans are at an extreme, that she can capitulate on that and say, no, this guy. Like, I bet nothing short of firing that person would make her happy. If they decide to give him a wage cut, or they decide to suspend him for 1 week, she's not going to be happy. Like, the only thing that she wants is for that guy to be fired. I don't even know who that guy is. I legitimately do not. I do not know these people. But again, I see that this journalist is being attacked by an army of brainwashed individuals that just, like, fuck you. Like, what is this? I don't know, human beings with different opinions. What are you doing? And then you see, like, this is a journalist, right? Which puts on a rose. This is the symbol for socialism. He's an activist. He's not a journalist. Like, this is what it is. It's activism. It's a protection racket. They are doing a protection racket in order to protect, I guess, that lady from being called out by Michael Tracy. And it's like, you're not a journalist. The guy objectively is a journalist. And look at this. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. People insulting him, attacking him, like all these blue check marks. And because they see him as a danger, they want to terrorize the journalist industry, to make people afraid of speaking out, to make people afraid of talking. Because if they talk, they're going to go through your timeline from 2017, and they're going to pull stuff which you said back then and use it against you. I wouldn't be surprised if they have an army of people right now going through Michael Tracy's social media account, trying to find out what he said, when he said, like hit pieces now that are going to appear in a couple of days against Michael Tracy. Stuff that has nothing to do with this. Like, you're just going to read an article that tells you why Michael Tracy is a bad person. Like, I can't count how many times I read the press and I just find out the guy that I literally don't know who they are. And it's like, the journalist is a guy that you don't know who he is and why he's a bad person and you need to hate him. How is that journalism? Like, what are you doing here? This is just so bizarre. And apparently it's because Representative Maxine Waters shoved him and he called that assault. I mean, according to the legal definition, which I'm pretty sure socialists don't really care about laws and order, shoving someone is assault. I remember when Justin Trudeau shoved a woman in the parliament and the entire press freaked out. Or when Donald Trump shoved someone out of the way, sorry, it wasn't him, it was a member of his security, right? Shoved someone out of the way, a journalist, and the press freaked out. And you get to see the tribalism, you get to see it's like the principle doesn't matter anymore. It's really about what politics do you have. If you have the correct politics, you can write some of the most outlandish and unacceptable political opinions on the internet. But if you have the wrong politics, they will absolutely make sure that they will attack you whenever you open your mouth. And I don't even want to know what goes on behind the scenes. Like, I am pretty sure that at this point there are people talking about blacklisting Michael Tracy. Like, he's going to be put on a list. He's not going to be allowed to find a job at specific publications. It's going to be very difficult for him to advance in his career. If not, outright people just trying to shut him down. I have seen this happen in the past. This is my opinion. And it's very disturbing because the idea of the freedom of the press is not just a law that's being written on a constitution. It is a spirit. Like, the idea of freedom of the press, yes, it's freedom so that the government doesn't crack down on it. But we as people, the invisible hand of the market, if you will, need to call this stuff out. Like, this is unacceptable. Okay, these people are preventing you, the clients, from getting access to a diverse array of opinions and a diverse array of news sources. I don't even care about talking about the black on black violence, but yeah, I mean, if you read the press, you're never going to read about the Bloods and the Crips and the gangs and what can it be done. Like, I don't think it's nice for the black people living in those neighborhoods to live under the tyranny of gangs. I lived in such a neighborhood. Okay, I lived in Romania in a diverse neighborhood that was very impoverished. The police would never go down there. People wouldn't travel during the night on the streets. Like, I know how it is. My parents were afraid that I wouldn't get involved with some of the people that had connections, and that they would try to give me money in order to push some weed or whatever. Yeah, I know how it is like to live like that. No one likes to live like that. But these people are preventing the conversation from happening. Now, just because someone writes an article doesn't mean people will read it. I mean, I remember when Fox News was the laughingstock of cable and no one would take Fox News seriously because, believe it or not, I disagree with the idea that people are dumb. I disagree with the idea that people just aren't adults, aren't able to make sense of the information themselves, and they need a blue check mark with a rose to make sure that only the acceptable information gets disseminated to the people. Anyway, yeah, that's not democracy. Like, another thing that I want to add, it's like the rose means social democrats, right? So people that will democratically elect socialism. Yeah, you know that your ideas are so bad that the only way you can push them is if you ban anyone else. Like, if you get a capitalist, a person advocating for freedom and liberty and capitalism on a stage, and then you get a person with the rose, no one is going to agree with the one with the rose. So the one with the rose has to ban the person that's a capitalist from appearing on the stage to challenge his ideas. And also, just so you can understand how they manipulate words and how words lose meanings when you deal with the people with the rose, the lady that was tired is considered brave for speaking up. When did the word brave lose its meaning? Like, for me, the word brave means a person that does something that can put him in danger. So, going into a burning building to rescue a child. Like, you can die for doing that. That is brave. Going as a doctor to heal the sick. That is brave, because you can get sick as well. I don't see any backlash against the lady calling out her tiresome colleague, but I do see a lot of backlash for Michael Tracy from people that are very influential. And that's why I think that Michael Tracy is indeed brave. So I will link his Twitter down below. You guys can, contact him, send him some words of encouragement, because I think the world, not just America, the world needs more people like him rather than less.